Well, welcome to the very first Manager's View, and I'm really pleased to say that the long wait was worth it, because we know who our manager is, and of course it is the one and only Mr. Mark Holloway. So welcome, Mark, and congratulations to you.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you.
So I mean, what was that like? The phone call from Tom to be told that you're now the you are the gaffer. You're not on sort of like temporary terms now. You are the main man. So I mean, it must have been a great moment for you.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling because you're always optimistic about it, whether somebody else might be coming up for the position, for the job, or and sort of you're cut between two and coming close to when the season's going to start, and you're looking forward to your football, but you're not sure if your job's sealed or not. So yeah, it was a very big relief when I had a long chat with Tom.
Yeah, happy days. So I mean, with the chat with Tom, though, I mean, what's he actually said to you is the aim for the season?
Well, obviously, coming in on the last part of the season before it come to a standstill was quite tough for me. We had a lot of players went down with injuries when we was doing really well, and we had some good results we put together. And then all of a sudden, within a slump of like 2 weeks, we had about 4 injuries on the table, which obviously, because the squad's not a big squad, we had to bring some of the youth players in, and it puts you under a lot of pressure because where we was producing the football and doing well, that was all taken away with the injuries, and a couple of them were quite bad injuries. So obviously you have to regather then, you have to regroup, and I looked at it and I thought to myself, well, as long as we do everything professionally how we should do, then we're not really going to go far wrong, because obviously it's a rebuild process, not just for me, but all the staff around, everyone knows what's going on. So you've got to gather that and the supporters together. Then all of a sudden the COVID comes in, and it was another big blow.
Yeah.
So it's like, we've had to all gather round, work, obviously start from the scratch again. And it's not so bad really for me because I've been at the club 18 months now, so I know how it turns over, and there are a great bunch of staff there, always willing to help, even down to quite a few of the supporters that have been coming back. It was lovely to hear some of the comments, even when I come onto the pitch and went over and said hello to them, and they made me welcome. It was really nice. Do you know what I mean? It made me feel really good.
So I mean, signings wise, I mean, when do we expect to start hearing about your signings?
Well, that's another tough one because obviously I knew where we had to strengthen from the squad that we had, what we was competing with, and it put me on a bit of a test really when we played some better footballing sides like the Westfields and the Bracknells. I thought, well, this is where we've got to be. And there was a few weaknesses in the 11 starting, so I thought to myself, well, I can't do nothing about it right this second, but then it gave me a lot of scope because until I knew where I was going to be for the new season with the owner, Tommy, telling me that good news for it. In that recess, I went out there with players that I was talking to regarding strengthening in the back line, at the forward line, which we had to if we're going to go and have a go at it this season when it obviously we got the green light for it. So yeah, that was a difficult one. Do you know what I mean? And obviously now I've got an headache, but a good headache because I've got better players coming in them positions.
So has that put you on the back foot a little bit though, with the actual sort of announcement being sort of so late as such? Has that put you on the back foot of trying to get players, or was you working in the background getting players before that?
Well, what I did, David, I contacted these guys when the COVID started and we all was on lockdown, and I was sort of like, I've done quite a bit of theory work in them positions, and I marked up players that I knew, say like fullbacks and forwards and that, and I went out to them, and some of these players was comfortable and waiting to see what they was going to get offered where they're going back to their old clubs, and then there's a few guys that wasn't getting their minutes, and they knew that Harlow is a well organised club, which it is, and they're willing to give it a chance and come over in pre-season, which was like good news, because then I thought, right, well, we can strengthen that position, we can definitely strengthen that position, and they were a few little weaknesses, not a lot in it, but they was definitely our weaknesses to go forward. I thought we've got to strengthen in them departments.
So of course, you know, the boys come back on Saturday. From what I've been told, so I mean, you know, are you expecting those boys that you've been speaking to be there then on?
Yeah, I've invited them to come to pre-season training to see how we do things, how we set up, how the clubs run, and they need to train with us a couple of sessions because they might not like the way we do things or we run things. So you've got to give them that. We've got that bit of time there to do that, and we've got to get everyone back now on the same run as we was when we was stopped on lockdown. So it's like as if like we've all been put in a fridge and defrosted them. Do you know what I mean? So I think, you know, obviously there will be a few disappointments, obviously, but my interest is purely for the football club and for the club who's been up there and won them things to try and get back where they was a few years ago. And it's a big possibility that can all happen if we do things correctly.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, with that, I mean, with when the season was sort of like, you know, I came back and I think I saw one of the games. I think the first game I saw was the Ware game, and you know, the actual team was playing really, really well and stuff like that. But I mean, when the actual break came, you know, was you expecting? You know, was you still expecting when the new season started to be still in charge?
To be perfectly honest with you, I think when we played Ware that particular night, our first half performance, I think, was so good. The way we constructed it from the back and way we protected the ball and way we played. And I thought myself, like the 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 passing was and the passion to come forward with the ball was superb. I thought, wow, you know what I mean? This is really, really good. Which I was thinking, hoping that we could go out and perform like that, and we did that night. You know, obviously, I felt we was obviously definitely the better side, and we could have gone on and won the game. But then we got opened up at the back from like schoolboy error defences, which this is what I was saying. But there's nothing I could do. I did tell the defenders, particular guy that we had at the club once, Andre McCollin, that he's got himself back out of injury, he's fit and he's sharp. I said, you've got to keep tight to him. I said, if you give him his space, he will go through the back line and he'll score goals. And he ended up scoring a hat trick that night, you know. But the way we played, our performance, the way we played, is probably one of the best performances I've seen since I was asked to take over.
So when it actually, you know, when COVID hit and it all sort of happened, you know, I mean, you know, say when the announcement came out that Danny had left, of course yourself was in there till the end of the season as interim. So was you expecting that phone call from Tommy to say, you know, that you know you're back for this season?
I think because I worked tight with Chapo in the 18 months that I went with him, and obviously when Spencer was there, and I think, you know, I know how the club was run. I know the responsibilities there, how you have to be above board with everything, and I think Tommy must have looked into that and knew that, you know, I had the right desire there. My heart was for the club, and to be honest with you, I don't care whatever clubs that come out with any other offers. I was quite happy, felt very happy to stay with the club because the people that are there. I thought we had half a decent side that we could turn it around, and then obviously I speak to Chapo all the time about football, and you know I ask him different seasons how he got on at such and such season, because like I've always said, even when I've been interviewed before, you're always learning, you're always picking new things up. I mean, Tommy's a great guy for that as well. You know, I always speak to Tom and go like, "What would you do there, Tom, if you had this situation, that situation?" And his answers are 100% positive. And I think that's great to have someone behind you like that, because he can help you so much, because he's always got a very positive opinion, and 99.9% of the time he's right in everything what he says. So having Tommy with me there, I feel really lucky there, because you don't always get a man who's been of good professional and a manager in football and non-league football. So having that help, I think, is a godsend. Do you know what I mean?
So I mean, when you actually first sort of took over the side, I mean, you said you wanted to play sort of attractive football. I remember the interview that we did, for my Monday show, and you said then you wanted Harlow to play a more attractive style of football. And of course, in the first few games, it went really well, and then all of a sudden, then it started going the wrong way as such at the end. So is that still something that you want to carry on doing this season? To carry on playing that sort of attractive football?
Well, obviously, it's got to be entertaining. You know what I mean? You can't be doing football just on a whim. You got to be positive of what you're going to go out with your shape each week. And what will tell us that when we start off with the season, obviously, if there's a few weaknesses in our shape, then I've got to change the shape around, which I will do. And obviously, as well, I'll do. You have to do your homework with the teams that you're playing. Unfortunately, we've played most of them teams, so I know all these other sides, the Bracknells, how they play. So once you've got that under your belt and you know what you've got in your squad, you can change that. You might be a 4-4-2, you might be a 4-3-3. So that depends week by week, and obviously how the training sessions go as well. So yes, it's got to be positive, it's got to be entertaining, and obviously you're out there to get the 3 points.
I mean, with the actual COVID coming in though, and the club almost being sort of shut down as such, really through COVID because of no parties and no dues being going on and stuff like that. Do you expect that that the budgets for this season are maybe not as big as they have been for you?
Yeah, I think generally that sort of answer for that will come from mainly all the same level clubs that we're all playing at. I think everybody, including Harlow, will be against it at the moment. I feel deep for the owner, because if it wasn't for Tommy, the club wouldn't be in this position what we're going to be into to start the league, because he's got to address that, which he has done that in the right way. Do you know what I mean? And if we can get the backing from some sorts of sponsorship, which there's a few people out there, and I think our new chairman's trying as well to get some sponsorship deals on the table. And I understand, I do believe the supporters have all been doing small little schemes to put a bit of money through the treasury part of it. I think we could get through, because we're not going to be the only ones in this budget scenario. All these higher paid players at the same level, that's not going to happen unless there's a guy that's willing to throw a hell of a lot of money at their club, who's very wealthy and not worried about losing that bit of money. But you've got to do things properly at this level, and that's going to be a tough run for the club to start off with. But that's to be expected, I think. You know what I mean?
So, one of the sort of criticisms that I've seen on fans forums and bits and bobs on social media over the last couple of years has been the amount of turnover of players that we've had. I mean, when we had the sort of 3 or 4 successful years, Chapo had sort of maybe an 18 of players, 20 players, and that they sort of went through for almost 3 years. So is that going to be the same thing this season? Are we going to be relying on a lot of loan players, or are we going to be going with our own team?
To be honest with you, with the situation that it is at the moment, I don't think we'll have too many loan players, because it's a kick-on effect, as you can appreciate in the professional world. They're not going to be able to release them loan players, because obviously they're all playing behind closed doors at the moment. So for them to give you loan players out, they're not getting their revenue through the doors. So I think loan players will, obviously that's a decision that probably Tommy will make that to try and help us if that's a possibility. That's something that might have to be taken up with Tom on that side of it. At the moment, until we get back pre-season on Saturday from the old squad and the new guys that I've invited over, and then we'll do some training sessions together, and I know the pre-season friendlies are being arranged at the moment. Then we can see what we've got. Then we can have a sort out what we want to keep, what we don't want to keep, and strengthen it that way.
So with the news today as well, Mark, we know we've now been put into the first extra preliminary round of the FA Cup, and of course that draw is the 18th of August, and then we go for that game on Tuesday the 1st of September. I mean, with the boys coming back on, this Saturday, will they be ready for that game, especially if it's against another Step 4 side?
Well, I've been in touch with the existing squad and the new guys I've invited over, and 99% of them have all been doing their own sort of pre-season because of the COVID. I know most of our guys have been doing like lots of bikes and one-on-ones, doing a lot of road work. I think they've been meeting up in parks and doing their little own thing together, obviously, so they don't fall behind too much with their fitnesses. I understand that most of our injuries that we occurred the end of the season when it got on closed down are now injury free. So I'm looking forward to seeing them if they've kept their fitness training sessions up like they've told me. We said most of them have got a good incentive. They want to be back, so they're all missing it. You know what I mean?
So I mean, with the actual, the players themselves, I mean, are we expecting to see, for the fans' sake, because the fans would love to know from yourself, are we expecting to see a Harlow side that's going to be playing to stay in the league? Are we seeing a Harlow side that's going for mid-table? Are we seeing a Harlow side for playoffs? Or are we going to see a Harlow side that's going to go out there looking for the title?
Well, I'm a very positive person in the sense that I would like to. Well, I'm going to go and challenge for the league. I'm not here just to turn up on a Saturday and finish mid-table side. There's a chance here with the newcomers coming in that where we had our weaknesses, I brought players in certain parts of the shape of the park to strengthen it. And if that all comes to plan, I'll obviously be discussing them players and their positions with Tommy as well. But if that all stacks up, then I think we'll have a very good chance. And it was quite helpful before the close down playing the higher, better sides like the Bracknells and the Westfields, because it showed me where we've got to be. And the way they sort of shaped up on the day, and the way how strong they was defensively as well on most of the sides, big, tall, and strong. I thought myself, well, if we can compete with that, we've got a good nucleus of experience in the side. I'll bring a bit more youth back in there, then we'll do all right. I think I'd like to keep, I know we've got the 23s, but at the moment, I think with the squad that we've got, I've got to make some changes there. A few players have left the squad since the season stopped, but I've strengthened it in them positions to help us. And it'll be interesting to see how the new guys come in and how they stack up in the training sessions. And I think from there, it'll give us a good insight, you know what I mean, to think, right, well, this is definitely going to be our new 18, 19 man squad.
So how much sort of attention do you and Dave sort of take when it comes to sort of social media wise with, when you get to see the likes of Bracknell and Ware and a few of the other sides that are really going out and going for it big style, and some of the players' names that you're seeing listed that they're actually getting in, and especially Bracknell that are flying. And then, of course, there was the rumour as well that Romford could possibly be in with us in the South Central because they're going to be ground sharing at Barking. So there seems to be a lot of sides in that league in our league that have gone out and actually got some real sort of big name players. Is that a concern to you as well, because it might be a bit stronger?
Yeah. You know what? I look at a lot of these guys and where they've come from, high levels of football, even some at professional level. It's very hard to adjust their football to come down at the step that we're at. Firstly, they've got to work out how they've got to adjust their football. It's different type of pace of football, different the shape, the way the ball's played on the park. So some of these guys that have been at these big higher clubs on higher wages, to step down in the south or the north, it's very difficult because all them, like we said about the Romford side, they've got some very good talented footballers, but for them to gel as an 18-man side at this level of football, it's not that easy. So having, all we've got to do is adjust where we had our weaknesses and worry about that type of thing on it. And the rest of the teams, like the Wares that you just said and Bracknell, they're going to be in the same boat because obviously them higher paid players that had last year and money's they're demanding coming down there, they're not going to be able to be paying that sort of money. So they're going to have all their changes in the same respect like we're what we're doing. So we're all really in the same sort of boat. it's just down to the management, like people like myself, that's got to realise that you've got to be tight at the back, which is where your core is, and keep your shape there, and then obviously your midfield, and we've got to put the ball away at the top, because we had games where we wasn't putting the ball away at the top, but we kept in the game, and then we leaked really like schoolboy errors at the back. So I've analysed that, and I think to myself, well, we need to strengthen here, we need to strengthen in that department there. Now I think I'm coming that close to doing that. So it'll be very, very interesting in the next few weeks to see where we're at with players that are coming, new players that are coming to the club.
So how do you get to a stage, because there's been some unrest with the fans during the season, since COVID's been, because they feel lack of information about what's going on with the playing style, manager, players, etc., etc. How do you now then now we've announced yourself and then players to come in the next few days and a week or so, how are you planning to try and get those the fans sort of behind the team?
Well, I've kept in touch with all the squad members that we had when the COVID come in, and obviously I've been in touch with players that I'd like to get in to strengthen us, and that's on a regular basis. So in the 3 months that we've been on lockdown, I've done a hell of a lot of phone calls and week by week, how you doing? And then we've got a group chat line, and in the last 4 or 5 weeks they've all been turning up on Sunday mornings at different places they've been training. So they're still passionate to get back in that sense. So obviously keeping in touch with them, I think, has helped. And as you quite well agree, and other people would as well, there's going to be players that wasn't sure where we were going to be, and bigger clubs have phoned up and they've obviously bit on that and gone and just left. But unfortunately, you can't be the best person for all them players. So what you've got to really do is what's best for the club. There's nothing bigger than the club. So that's how I've addressed it. All them new players, I will have the same attitude to them, what I want out of them, how I want them to play, and to play with the squad as a squad it should be. And I think if I can get that, which the club had it a few years ago when they won the league, and they went up, they had that friendship and that changing room spirit, and they took that onto the pitch in every game, and that's very hard to play against, because they wasn't just playing for the club, they was playing as mates in a side, and that's how they was enjoying it. Well, if we can get that back into a squad, then it would be a very tough side to beat on our day.
But we've got a great fan base. We've got a really good fan base. But how are you going to be able, with the team and with David, to being able to get the fans behind you and behind the team?
I think if you're honest with them, which I have been with the fans that I've met, and I'll go and say hello every home game, or if they come to the away games, I always get the players over at the end of the game, and I'm always early at the games, and I see them, I go up and have a chat with them. There's always a fan that wants to pass their opinion, and I'm always willing to talk to them about their opinions, whether there's 50 of them or there's 5 of them. That's that type of person I am. I think you've got to give them the time of day, because they're behind us, and a lot of these fans have been there a long, long time, and obviously they just want you to do well. And and when you've got changing times, it's hard for somebody like me, because I've got to get them behind us. I've got to make sure we've got the right side. I've got to make sure the chairman's happy that I'm running the club in the right respect. And as long as I do everything above board like that, I know I'm going to be on a winner.
And of course, I'm assuming you want to take the fans with you and get the fans back to how they were, sort of like when we had the successful seasons.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was there the day when they won the playoffs, when I was assistant manager then at Hornchurch, and if you could replicate that, was just an unreal scenario what they had. I think there's probably over 2,500 people, I believe, that particular playoff day. And I don't know what the percentage is left of them fans that still come, but most of them I've met, hand on my heart, are really nice people. And I'm now starting to see a few of them creep into the players' lounge at the end and have a few drinks. And I think if we can slowly build on that and get back their trust, and try to do our best with the squad, then I think you'll get towards that sort of side what Chapo had when he won the league. You know, so that's what my strive is anyway. You know, you can't do all this overnight. But like I spoke to the chairman on it, and he said just as long as we do everything professional above board, and you know everyone does their jobs in the right respect, what I'm asking them to do. Our training sessions have been spot on. How we're doing them. Dave will take care of all that. We've got a good set up with the physio side with Kate. Tim and Alfie are there in the club to help. The stewards are spot on with what they do, and if we can get the fans backing us as well, I think we'll have some good Saturdays.
So we've got. I mean, I look at the fan forum, and when I watch some of the comments on there, and I mean, you've got. I would say to you, probably it might even be as much as 50-50 of fans that.
Say that again, David.
I was saying on the fans forum, you get there's a fair old few people on there, and I would say roughly about 50-50 to fans that still turn up to games and fans that don't turn up to games. So what would you say to those fans that don't turn up for games anymore for whatever reason to try and get them to come back and support you and support the team?
I've looked at that, and I think, like, you know, I know we went through a long spell with a good result and then 2 or 3 bad results following it, and I know their expectations are high, what they're looking to see each week they come to these games. But where we had quite a lot of youth in the side, and we're trying to keep the shape that we was playing, and we tried it in the training sessions, and then all of a sudden we're doing it in a game, and then we're going leak in the defence with, like as I keep saying, schoolboy errors. It's very hard when you're 2 or 3-0 down, but you're playing a good tempo of football. But from the fan side, they're all wondering, well, why are we playing like this? What's this? What's that? And they have their say with it. But I feel they should look at it now. It's a new season. You know, the club's all set up properly. I'm bringing a new set of players in to strengthen our problems that we've had of what I've seen before I took it over. Give it a chance. You know, give me a bit of trust in it. Come back, come and enjoy the football. If you know, I'm not going out there for not making entertaining football. That's why I'm getting the boys down, getting the ball down to play football. You know, and we've got a good surface there to play it on. All I've done is got more experienced players to come in to put that entertaining football out there. So all I would say to the fans, come and give a few games of where they used to be. Give it a chance. You know, it's no point sitting at home and just thinking, so it's going to be the same old Harlow, always playing football and always getting beat. You can't be negative like that. They've got to be a bit positive. It's a new season. We've had this COVID scenario and that no one likes, but at least they must be getting bored sitting indoors anyway. So they're probably all sort of thinking, oh, let's go over Harlow. It's a new season. Why not all get them together that way? You know, I spoke to Buddha about it, and I said, look, you get behind them. You know, we're trying our best. You know, even like they can come and we've got the pre-match games coming up. Let them to come and watch some of this football we're going to do in that and see the type of side we've got.
Well, of course, I mean, the pre-season games at the minute they can't come and see, can they, because of COVID-19? But with a bit of luck, I'll be there videoing them so they can see them live anyway. But with that sort of side of it and stuff. I mean, what did Tom say to you in the meeting? Has he actually given you an official target he wants you to achieve during the season?
With Tom, he's a professional man, as you know, and he just said, I want everything done professional, above board. I want you to do everything right in the right departments. He said, and we'll be okay. I think we'll get stronger as the training sessions go on. We'll eventually get the squad sorted out and we'll be ready to start the season. But I think at the moment, I know Tim's had his work cut out because obviously, I ain't got to tell you, David, or all the fans out there, that the paperwork criteria from the FA is incredible. I think they've gone a little bit OTT with it, but that's to be expected. Do you know what I mean? And hand on my heart, I think how they're going to be able to try and play a non-league game of football on behind closed doors, I can't see that happening. I think that's virtually impossibility. Do you know what I mean? So they've got to sit. The board of the FA have got to sit and make a decision to say, well, look, non-league football, we've got to get fans behind through the turnstiles,
Well,
and I think that's got to happen. Otherwise, they've just got to put the date further back of starting the league. You've got to have a fan base coming in.
So the start date at the moment is the 19th of September, but Nick Robinson and the two chairmen from the Southern League and the Northern League were on our show a few weeks back, and they both all said together that they will not start non-league football at our level unless fans are allowed in the ground. So if, for instance, the North League had a spike in coronavirus in their areas, then the Southern League and the Isthmian League would not play football until the Northern League was ready to play. So in those three leagues, everybody must start on exactly the same day. So if there's a spike in the north or a spike in the south or a spike in the Isthmian area, then that would put the leagues back until all three leagues could actually all start together. So they actually said that on that programme and stuck by that, as far as I know, right up till now. So do you see it starting on the 19th of September, or do you see there being a break in it as well, if there's a second way?
I think it's we've had like the people down on the COVID, people down with Tim and look around the ground of what we've got to follow, procedures that we've got to follow and stuff. Me personally, I think how we are at the moment, I think they will have to rectify it in the sense of letting the fans through the gate, because I can't see how you're going to start a non-league game behind closed doors. I can't see that happening at all. So, having to guess it at the moment, I can see it all going the right way. But like you just said, what's happening out in the world. Like 1 minute they're shutting a country down like Spain, and then they're opening it back up a week later. You know what I mean? So it could happen over here. Who's to say? I mean, it's happening in Leicester, and they shut this down. So it's just generally across the board. I think we've got dates set. We've got to prepare ourselves for that. We can only be positive going forward from when we get the boys in Saturday, have a proper chat with them now, get them out, do the start of the pre-season training, and then go forward from there Tuesday. That's all we can do. But just do everything properly above board, unless something comes in and forecloses it again. Who's to know that?
So with the pre-season games, and I know that it's gone out today, looking for people to play us in pre-season. Do you feel with the news today that that we're going to be going in the FA Cup on the 1st of September, that we will probably have enough game time between now and then to be able to be match ready?
Yeah, I think I don't agree with having too many pre-season friendlies, because obviously, you want to keep your injuries to zero, and you can. I've seen it before. You get through these pre-season games, and you've got that extra game. You might have a night game on a Tuesday. Bang! You get two of your key players pick up an injury, and you're back to square one. And they've got to that level. It's done so well. So pre-season games, they are important, but you don't want too many of them. But you want just enough to tip you over. I mean, we'll be doing more than enough on a Tuesday and Thursday night for us to be ready to start our game of football in this league in the north or the South Central as we're in. So I can't see that being a problem. Do you know what I mean? But obviously you've got the earlier game with the FA Cup, like they've brought the pre-round in. So yeah, we'll be okay there on that side, on the fitness side.
So when would we expect to start hearing about players then signing on for Harlow? When do you expect to start making your announcements on your players?
That's something I'm taking up with Tom, I've agreed that with him I'll give him the list of players that we've got left from last season and the new guys that are coming in and the positions that they're playing. Then obviously I've got 2 weeks of pre-season training with them, and by that time I'll have a very good idea, because you're going to get a few odd players coming in with their CVs of where they've done what they've done. You have that year in, year out. It's always been the same. But I think in the next 4 or 5 training sessions, I'll have the squad virtually there to where we want to be. I'll pass that through Tom, and then it'll all be announced from there. You can't announce it too earlier than that, because it's pointless. Do you know what I mean? You've got to see what these players are about. Even the ones that I know of have called in, you don't know if they've kept their fitness levels up. You don't know. So you've got to get a group of guys that are going to be good enough, and then you've got to make it your decision of what you want to go and have a go with it.
So Donna's going to be a busy young lady then.
She's a very busy lady, but she's very good at what she does. You know, you'd be lost without her. She's excellent in that department, and so don't get me wrong, so is Tim. You know, it's wonderful what he does and the stuff that he has to deal with. Alfie and the rest of the crew that we've got there. You know what I mean? That's why the club is so well run. You can't get much better. You know, and you've got a great owner of the club. That you know, he's all for Arlo. Same for me. You know, I'm very passionate about my football. You know, obviously, every week I'd love to win without a shadow of a doubt. But I think, you know, once if I can get the changing room right, I'll get the discipline right. You know, there's a few things that's going to change around, which has got to be done, and then I think the rest of it will follow suit. Plus, we've got Paul on board helping us with the bits of pieces from the kit stuff and everything. And I think if everyone does their bits and their jobs, you put that all together. Come match days, and we've got the squad right, we can give it a good go this time.
Well, the one man we didn't mention in there was of course, as far as I'm concerned, from what I've seen of him in the last few months, you know, if Heineken did chairman, then we've actually got him in Chris Holloway, probably one of the nicest guys there is, and a great chairman as well. I mean, he's actually said in his interview that he would love to meet the fans that are there now and the fans that have walked away to try and find out, you know, why they walked away and what he could do. Would you be, you know, in that situation with him as well, to sit down with the fans and beat them?
Listen, there's nothing better than having your fans on your side and coming through the turnstiles every Saturday. Nothing better. And you know, Chris is a good guy for that. You know, his job, what he does, he's a management person. And I think if he puts a message out there for the fans and everyone wants to, if there's a group of guys that, a main group that want to have a chat and come to the club, I'll be always more than welcome to entertain them and talk to them and say this is what our intentions are from the management side. And obviously that would come the same from the chairman side, Chris. You know, I think, you know, and Chris loves his football like I do, you know what I mean? And his wife, you know, they're keen, very keen followers of us, you know, and they're nice people. And I think, you know, he's trying now with the sponsorship deals, putting them on the table. And if a few of them start coming through, it's going to help our budget. So, yeah, if the fans can come forward and have a meeting at any so-called night down at the Players' Lounge, I'll be more than pleased to turn up and have a chat with them.
And I think sometimes, especially some of the ones that have walked away, would absolutely love that. You know, because all they want is information. Do you know what I mean? That's all you hear from them. I want information. What's going on? And I think, you know, it's a case of, you know, they all want what you want as well. And I think it'd be great for you, for the club, just to get them all together. And, you know, you as the new manager now, Chris as the new chairman, all sit down, have a chat, and all get on the same sort of winning run as such.
Well, I did, before the COVID come in and Tommy put me on a temporary basis, I did meet a few of them in the players' bar, and I was speaking to them, and I said to them about the intentions. You know, I said I loved it here working under Chapo, and I'm sorry to see him step down, but that's his decision. But I've got to try my best and try and achieve something and do everything right. And I, you know, I had good chats with some of them, and they said, "Oh, that's positive, that's nice," and they was nice people back to me. So, you know, I thought to myself, well, if we can see a few of them back, and like you just said, if they do come to Chris and they want to meet up with myself, my assistant Dave, he'd talk to them, and Chris, then I'll be more than pleased to have a half a lager with them or something and talk to them about the football. You know,
absolutely. Well, listen,
why not? You know.
Listen, Mark, I really appreciate you joining us tonight, and I know you're a busy man, and as well. And I suppose we wish you here, you know, everybody at Arlo TV wishes you all the very best, you, Dave, and the team going forward. And hopefully we can have a regular chat and a regular sort of catch up. And as I said, hopefully any home games we can get the friendlies out there for the fans to sit and watch at home, and I'll be there recording the games. So we wish you all the very best for the season, and especially for the FA Cup, of course, it's just around the corner as well.
Okay, David, it's been a pleasure talking to you. You've been always a gentleman, and it'd be great to carry on and getting the fans on our side back again. You know, it'd be great to see them over there. I'm the first one to say, "Come on, boys, back us up." You know.
Absolutely. Listen, Magic, thanks for your time, Mark. I really, really appreciate it. Until next time.
You're welcome.
Thanks, mate.